Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system? Obviously.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe. It's time to put away your toys.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. A new low price and free games.
Mind-blowing graphics of Panasonic Real 3DO.
3DO.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast, where we talk about all things 3DO, the company, the console, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Threk. How you doing, Threk?
Oh, I am feeling nice and steamy, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing good. I survived Snowmageddon 2026.
I think most people did. There were some people who did die though, which is sad. But those were in like the more southern areas where all they got was ice.
Yeah.
Like in Tennessee and places like that. Like they're like, oh, we got like 6 inches of ice. It's like, oh fuck. I don't think anybody could manage that, even with up here where you and me probably have winterized power grids. That would still be a problem, you know?
Yeah, because like we didn't lose power once in Connecticut. We just got pounded by snow.
Yeah, same here. All snow, no ice. Though some of it has been turning into ice because it's so cold out here. But
yeah,
it is what it is. And for our video watchers, if you can't tell, there's a little bit of steam right here because I've been dealing with that dry cough. So I said, fuck it. I'm gonna buy a humidifier. And honestly, it's worked. I've sat in this thing for a couple days now, and my cough has virtually disappeared.
Nice.
Who would have thought doing something everybody says works? It's crazy.
Some people on the internet are smart. Some. And I'll leave it at that.
I say as I cough. Well, I was trying all kinds of other stuff, and it just wasn't working. So I had a few people suggest maybe you just need a humidifier, and I was like, let me see if I can go find one, and I did. And it's like, nice. Oh, well, how about that? Beautiful.
It's crazy. Like, I have a dehumidifier in like the basement here, and like you think even during like the dry season, that thing still goes off like 24/7. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, but that's just our lives, I guess. So, is what it is. So we're gonna tackle the Army Men games again today, but before we do that, we'll touch on a little bit of news. Our first one I saw was Banjo-Kazooie got a recompiled PC port now, so you can play that thing in 4K and 120 frames a second. Of course, people have it on like ultra widescreen, so it's just another in the line of those ports we've been seeing. And yeah. It's cool. Keep doing them, kids.
Yeah, it's N64 games have an interesting charm to them.
Yeah, especially one like Banjo, which does have some disagreement in terms of the SuperPod group as to if it's a good game or not, depending on who you ask. I think it's fine. I don't think it's as great as some people make it out to be. But I also don't think it's trash. I'm like, what I've played of it, I've had a good time with.
I think it's a good game for rare collectathon standards because, like, in all honesty, Banjo-Tooie is like 100 times better in pretty much every way.
I've never touched Tooie, so...
Well, it's not a collectathon for once, and, like, it just makes more sense. Like, it's better designed in every way. Yeah,
my issue with Kazooie is whenever I play it, I just do that like, oh, where do I go now? What do I do? Because they just kind of throw you in the level and you're just kind of like figure it out. And it's fun at first, but after a while, it's just like I would like some direction, some guidance on where to go. But I know Tooie is more like a Zelda game, I think.
Tooie's more linear. Like one of the big things in like Banjo-Kazooie versus Tooie is in like Kazooie, if you like have all your like notes and stuff collected and then you die, you lose everything. And in Tooie, you can like die and you don't lose anything. Like you can actually reset yourself by just because I don't think it has lives. I think it's like they cut out lives and just made it like you just respawn
like an adventure game.
Yeah, it's just a much better experience overall. Or like lives are like not really an issue. I forget.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I played Tooie, but I remember it being like there'd be points where you'd get it to the end of a stage and then you just jump in a pit to reset to the beginning, so you don't have to go all the way back.
Yeah. Hey, maybe that's the one I should play. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see. The other thing, well, this was kind of the big thing that happened, was all the Ubisoft stuff that happened. So there was reports, or I saw rumors that the Prince of Persia remake was due to release any day now, the Sands of Time remake. And apparently there were people who saw it not that long ago and said it looked really good, and they were, confident in it. But then Ubisoft apparently canceled a shit ton of stuff. They canceled 6 games, sorry. One of them including the Sands of Time remake. They've delayed 7 other games, and they said this is all part of a restructuring process that they're trying to do. So we don't know the other games that they've dropped. But one of the games that was delayed, people are thinking it's that Black Flag resynced or whatever that still hasn't been properly announced yet. And that was a shame. I was going to actually look forward to playing that this year. Who knows? I may have to play that next year.
Part of me kind of wants Beyond Good and Evil 2 to be one of the canceled games just so we can put that out of its goddamn misery. But
from what I've heard, it is not one of the
games. I figured not. I figured it was probably one of the delayed games, but I'm just like, God damn it, put that damn thing out of its misery at this point. Like, who is hyped for that? Like,
somebody, like Beyond Good and Evil 2 is almost just sunk cost fallacy at this point,
Like, it doesn't even have like the meme worthy value of like Duke Nukem Forever. Like, it's just like it exists, and it's
just kind of sad. Like, it's not funny.
I mean, it was a niche game to begin with, and then it's like even less like I don't even know who is exactly like the biggest Beyond Good and Evil fan out there, but
there's somebody out there,
I'm sure there is, but
yeah. But yeah, this is just Ubisoft again circling the drain, not really knowing what they're doing. I read an article from, might have been on Polygon, I think, where they talked to a bunch of people who worked at Ubisoft, and like they talked about how when Elden Ring came out, they were very upset because they're like, oh, look, FromSoft made this great open world RPG that everybody likes. And it's like, well, we've been doing these for years and people don't like them nearly as much as this. What are we doing wrong?
Because FromSoft actually made a compelling game with stuff to do.
Well, I think Ubisoft just kind of falls into that trap that a lot of other big AAA publishers do, and that like games are made by committee. There's all this sort of corporate oversight, and people aren't really allowed to express themselves in any sort of creative vision, and they just kind of focus on putting out a bland ass product that makes as much money as possible. Yeah. I think that's kind of their focus, which is a shame because, I tend to like Ubisoft games more than most people. Like, I like the Assassin's Creed series. I enjoy, I have fond memories of the Tom Clancy series. Played a lot of Rainbow Six Vegas back in the day. Some of the Ghost Recon still hold up. Splinter Cell, of course, is an iconic series. I hope that remake of 1 wasn't one of the canceled games. We don't know. I hope not. I hope they're still working on that. I mean, I have a little. I want to play more like Far Cry. Like Ubisoft have games and IPs that people genuinely care about, but I think apparently people have issues with like the founder and the CEO being a bit of like a tyrant who just kind of does things on a whim. Like that Polygon article looked into like the internal messaging board, and people are just talking about how much of a shit show it is and how they're like worried for their jobs and everything. And, and I mean, there's talks of Ubisoft being like, I think it was like privately bought by some like the Saudis or some shit. So, but they bought EA. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's
bad. It's bad because like Ubisoft has IP that people would want, but it's just like at this point, like they've kind of run a lot of that IP into the ground.
Yeah. And also like people were really looking forward to like the Division 3, like because the Division games have been very successful and we still don't really have an update on that. So everything's just kind of in limbo to Ubisoft, which just kind of sucks, because there are things about them that are great. Like when they did that Prince of Persia game, Lost Crown. I've been able to play some of that, and it's really good, like really, really good. So
it weirdly like some of the best Ubisoft games to come out recently are the ones that are not made by Montreal.
Yeah,
The Montpellier game.
Montpellier, yeah, the original Ubisoft.
Yeah,
They seem to have, the Rayman team basically never seem to lose their spark, you know. And I think Montreal makes good games. It's just again they're like too big. Like
Montreal makes literally everything else.
Yeah, like the most recent Assassin's Creed I played was Origins, and I liked it. You know, I didn't love it, but I thought it was a solid game. You know, the ancient Egypt stuff and everything. And I haven't touched Odyssey yet. I just haven't had the time yet. I'm just trying to find a time to start a big ass game like that.
Yeah.
So, and people seem to like that one too. So I don't know. I'm hoping Ubisoft can figure it out and keep making cool games, but we don't know. But speaking of Rayman, there are two kind of things in the news right now. One is that they're working on a new Rayman, like a remake or something like that. Apparently there's like more than one Rayman project in the works right now. Like one of them's like a 3D Rayman game. Like I think they're making a brand new 3D platformer Rayman game, like Rayman 4 basically, which sounds awesome. I hope that's real, because
I still
think that would be cool.
wish the original Rayman 4 happened, like the one where
that turned into Rabbids.
Yeah, where the Rabbids were supposed to be the main mook of the game. I still think that would have been a great game if it actually
I think that's the GBA game, isn't it? Because the GBA Rabbids is more of just a traditional platformer.
They kind of like kept the concept with that one, but apparently it was going to be like 3, like that same style, like full 3D.
Yeah.
But the main villain was going to be the Rabbids, and then at some point they just decided we don't know how to make a platformer anymore, and we're like, let's just make a party game.
That was just kind of a problem back then in the late 2000s, where just people were giving up on platformers. So
yeah, unfortunately.
But so they might be working on a new 3D one, which I hope they are, because I played a bit of Rayman 2 on the N64 Classics thing. It's really good. It's real good.
The Dreamcast port is so...
It's pricey, but I may hunt it down and try to play it on a real hardware.
Or if you can't find that, the PS2 port is also very good.
Yeah, I could always just emulate it.
Don't play PlayStation. Avoid the PlayStation and the DS ports. Those ones are shit.
No problem.
3DS is okay.
No problem. But apparently another one they might be working on is it was labeled as like a remake of Rayman Legends. Again, the wording might be incorrect on that because it's like a rumor leak thing. Because I'm thinking, why the fuck would you want to remake a game that
available on every modern system?
Yeah, like it's the most recent Rayman game. It already looks great. It plays great. I played it on numerous consoles, and it's fantastic.
You can get it on PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch 2.
Yeah,
very easily.
Yeah, Switch 1, PS4, Xbox One, PC. It was probably on fucking Stadia and Luna. And
it was on the
mobile
Wii U. Remember, that's where it started.
Yeah, so again, the wording might be weird on that. I don't know. I hope that's just something that got lost in translation, because that seems like a complete waste of time and resources. Like if they were doing that for Rayman Origins, that would be fine, because that's stuck on PS3 and 360, I believe.
Yeah. And it could
you can play it on Xbox through backwards compatibility, but I mean, I wouldn't mind a new native version of that. Why not? Like that's a cool game a lot of people didn't get to play.
Oh yeah.
So I hope that's just a bunch of crap. But apparently, well, I guess this year's Rayman's 30th anniversary. I did not know that. So that might be why they're doing some stuff for him. But something that was spotted potentially was Atari doing a Rayman 30th anniversary collection type thing. So it could be like Digital Eclipse doing, say, the Legacy Collection for Mortal Kombat, but for Rayman. Which
they better give us brain games, damn it.
Yeah, again, it was something that was spotted. Who knows how legit it is or not. But I mean, it'd be cool. It was a spot, I think it was on like the Australian site for Rayman 30th anniversary edition or whatever. I mean, I'd be fine with like a full remake of the original Rayman. I'm surprised they've never done that.
Honestly, you know what's crazy? If they were to do like an actual like Digital Eclipse style set, like it'd be super cool if they would include like, say, like the canceled Super Nintendo prototype or the Jaguar version that like not a lot of people have played. Yeah,
because I'm thinking if like Digital Eclipse is working on a Rayman collection, you know, you have to think like what's gonna be there. Because I'm assuming we'd get Rayman's 1, 2, 3, and maybe Origins. Like, I think those 4 would make sense. You don't need to put Legends on there unless that's part of the remake thing, is they're throwing Legends into that for some reason. I don't know.
There's also that weird like isometric one on GBA, and the GBA version of 3 is actually like a side scroller that has its own unique story.
Yeah. And as I mentioned before, the GBA version of Rayman Rabbids, which is different. And, I mean, like, when you look at it, there's not that many Rayman games.
There's also the Rayman Arena games, which are interesting because the PS2 version and the GameCube Xbox version are different.
Yes, they are.
And then there's also the PS1 like truncated version called Rayman Rush, which is also kind of unique.
Yeah, and then there's like all kinds of mobile shit like Rayman Golf and Rayman Kart, and there's the like the mobile like Jungle Run and Fiesta Run and Rayman Mini or whatever. Thrak Jr. plays one of those mobile Rayman games and he loves it to death. He's a bit of a Rayman guy.
Nice.
And I've wanted to play more of the Raymans. Like Rayman 3 HD sits on my wish list. I'm just waiting for it to go back on sale for $5 again to play it. So apparently they're doing something with Rayman this year, and I hope they do. I hope it's like something cool, like a Digital Eclipse or like a brand new 3D Rayman or something like that. Don't just port Legends again, because there's no need to do that. You don't need to be Sony and port your game to the most recent console because you feel like it. Like, try to be a little bit smart, Ubisoft. It's hard for you. I know it's hard for you, but try. So, I mean, hopefully this is an initiative to make Rayman more of a thing again.
I wish, because God, him and Mega Man, like Mega Man's thankfully getting something, but like they like feel forgotten a lot of the times. At
least with Mega Man, we were getting all those collections.
True.
So they were doing something with them. So, but we'll see what they do. Last thing is the Xbox Developer Direct happened last Thursday. We saw 4 games. There was a secret 4th game. And my overall thoughts, if anybody's curious, is great. These games look awesome.
Fable looked very pretty.
Yeah. Well, real quick, Forza Horizon 6.
That also looked very pretty.
It's in Japan. It looks freaking amazing. They're bringing back the progression system from Horizon 1 with the wristbands, because how Horizon 1 worked was you start off as like a nobody and you have to earn your way to get into the festival. Okay. Like right away. And you start with like a D-class car, you do D-class races, and then when you do enough of those, you can move into the C-class and everything. Because with like, I think 2 has that a little bit as well, but with like 3, 4, and 5, you could just start the game with just like the top car and just fucking go for it, which I mean is cool, but having the progression system of 1 makes that game a lot more memorable, because it's almost like a journey kind of a thing. So that's cool that that's there. The environments look great, mixture of urban, and you can probably drift around Mount Fuji. Looks
so
fantastic.
Many Tokyo Drift references. I can already picture it.
Yeah. I hope that song is in there.
I know, right?
Yeah. It looks incredibly promising. In fact, apparently somebody said that their friend thought it was just, they were like, when are you going to turn off the video of cars and show us the game? And they're like, dude, this is the game. It looks really nice. So I'm excited for it. It's out May 19th, Kane's favorite day. If you know, you know. And yeah, May 19th, that's what I'll be doing, if anybody's curious.
Nice.
Because I'll be playing that day 1. So I'm very excited for it. The next game they showed was Beast of Reincarnation. Game Freak's attempt at making like a near Stellar Blade, Sekiro type thing. They never said Souls-like. And that might not be what they're going for. They might be trying to do something a little more, I guess, standard action adventure. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it looks interesting. Your main character has like vines for hair, and you have a little dog companion that you can use in like you can set it up almost like Dragon Age Origins or something, where you can pause the action and then like be like, oh, your dog, go do this, and you go do this, and then you kind of do it, which is an interesting idea. It looks really unique.
It's so weird to me how when Game Freak actually has like a reason to try, it's like night and day.
Yeah, like graphically, I think it looks really nice.
Like you look at this compared to Pokemon Z8, and it's like, what
I
happened?
haven't played ZA, so I can't say, but
It's a good game, but like the graphics at times, I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like Game Freak, you could have tried a little.
again, a lot of those tech issues. I feel like Beast of Reincarnation shows it's not really Games Freak's fault. It's just the Pokemon company put everything Pokemon related on such a strict timeline, and they know that their fans don't give a shit.
That
So
and
they're
I'm
like,
convinced,
fine, just put it out. It'll be fine.
and I'm convinced Nintendo gives them the same budget they would for a GBA game still.
Yeah, honestly, maybe. So, but seeing Beast of Reincarnation, like
picture
this
that for
shows, but seeing this new Game Freak game shows that they can pull that kind of stuff off. And historically, I've tend to really like what Game Freak does outside of Pokemon. Pocket Card Jockey, Tembo the Badass Elephant, Drill Dozer.
Oh yeah,
Those are all really fun, cool games.
that's why I have
So-
such a love-hate relationship with that company.
Yeah. Hell, Pulse Man on the Genesis. That is a really cool game. So, yeah, I have the same with you with Game Freak, because we know they're good. We just wish they could break from the Pokemon shackles, but it does keep the roof over their heads.
I know. It just annoys me so much. Like they don't have to try with Pokemon because the fans will fucking buy it anyways. I'm guilty of this.
And maybe it's just like a time constraint thing. They just don't get enough
probably.
time to make these games.
It's probably that in budget. Like they only
Yeah.
have so much.
Yeah, I did, and I found it funny in the developer direct, like when they were talking to all the Game Freak employees, they mentioned they worked on Pokemon like 5 or 6 times. It's like, we get it. We know what you're from, Game Freak.
We know you do. We know the reason why you exist.
Even Xbox people know what Pokemon is. Okay, I promise you. But that's coming out in, I think they just said summer. They didn't date it, but summer. My guess probably a June thing. Maybe a lot of none of the other games got a proper like release date. That could just be again like GTA 6 thing, where they want to see where GTA 6 launches and then kind of plan everything out. Because really, in this developer direct, every game looked ready to go.
Yeah,
Nothing looked unfinished or kind of iffy. It's like everything looked fine.
they're probably just Q&Ing and like testing glitches.
Yeah. My guess is at the June showcase, they'll give us more set times. I imagine we'll see these games again there. Though except for the secret game, which was a Double Fine joint, which is what I assumed it was going to be. It's a game called Kiln, where you make little creatures out of clay pottery, and then you fight each other in like an online multiplayer battle royale thing. I love Double Fine. I love that they get to do basically whatever they want. Like, even though they're under the Microsoft umbrella, Microsoft's like, yeah, whatever. Sure, do it. We don't care. How much is it going to cost? Who cares, right?
Yeah, I've learned
I
recently,
love that.
I think it's been established that Microsoft, this whole mystique of Microsoft like oppressing studios is bullshit. Like, and it was just Bungie being difficult and Rare being rare. Like, it was never actually Microsoft.
I think some people are worried with how Microsoft's structure seems to be changing, and that they're worried about certain companies like this. But I think Double Fine, like, they're a legacy studio. They have an industry icon at the helm.
Oh yeah.
And I think they have like they have expectations for Double Fine, where it's like they're not gonna, be the biggest thing ever, but if anything, having Double Fine under your belt is like goodwill.
Well, it's like their 3 biggest studios, I'd say right now, are like Double Fine, Obsidian, and who's the other one? I lost it. Mojang, the Minecraft.
Yeah, Mojang for sure.
Yeah.
But Kiln, it looks cool. I don't know if it's necessarily a game for me, but I'm willing to give it a try. If somebody wants to play it with me when it comes out, let me know and we'll fuck around with it, see if it's any good.
It's just so weird seeing these historically like always low budget, like barely holding on studios like Microsoft owns now and it's just pumping money into, and we're actually seeing what they can actually do.
Yeah, because after Psychonauts 2, which was such a big project for them, Tim Schafer had said they did a whole documentary about the Psychonauts 2 development. You can go watch that on YouTube. It's fantastic. Near the end, Tim talked about how he wanted to get back to what he was doing before, which was just letting people within the studio, if they have an idea, pitch it, and then we'll try to make it and see what we like about it. And that's how we got Keeper, which I thought was really cool. And that's how we're getting Kiln, which looks interesting, even if it's not a game for me. I think they're going to get back to that point of like, oh, we're just going to pump a game out like one a year or something like that. Like, we have these cool ideas, we can make it, let's just do it. And I think that's perfect for Double Fine. That's how we got Costume Quest. That's how we got Iron Brigade, Stacking, The Cave, like all the games they showed before. It's like, yeah, this is what Double Fine should do. And every once in a while, they'll make a big thing like a Psychonauts or a Brutal Legend 2. I would love if they did a Brutal. Tim Schafer has said he wants to do a sequel to that. I would love if they got to, but that would be a big project.
Also, it'd be a licensing nightmare. That's like the biggest thing that holds those games back.
But having the Microsoft money, you could probably make it work. So, but it might be more of a case of Schafer convincing them that it's worth doing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because as much as I love Brutal Legend, that game was such a commercial disaster that like it's kind of
and that because they had like all those publisher shifts. And none of the publishers wanted Tim to talk about it being like a RTS game.
Yeah, let's show like the first 20 seconds of gameplay that you don't do for most of the game.
Exactly. So, trailer. Yeah, and Tim has always regretted that, but he was just doing what he had to do. So I would like a Brutal Legend 2 in the future, but we'll see. Whatever Double Fine, whatever they want to do, I'm all for it.
Oh yeah,
do your thing. I love seeing that kind of shit. And their game is out in the spring. So like a March, April type thing. So yeah, and I'll give it a try. And yeah, the last game they showed was Fable, coming out in autumn. So that might be a case of they don't want it to release around the same time as GTA 6 because it will get swallowed whole by it. But yeah, wow, it looks incredible.
It does.
Like Playground. I think if Forza Horizon 6, I think that will hit. But if Fable hits, I think Playground will ascend to one of the top studios under the Microsoft Xbox umbrella. That like, oh, they were able to go like this racing game studio made a open world RPG based on like one of the Xbox franchises. Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, right?
I saw this,
and they made it work, and it looked great. It played great. Everybody loved it. I'm like, then Playground is fucking it.
I saw this really cool picture someone posted of it's like the opening screen, like from the trailers of like Fable 1, Fable 2, Fable 3, and then this one. And I'm like, you see the progression. Like they got the look. Like it looks like it could fit in very well with the Lionhead games.
Absolutely. They talked about like paying tribute to the Lionhead games, but also wanting to put their own spin on it. And it looks like, they really took their time to get it right because this game was announced like 6 years ago. And then apparently it went through a lot of development issues. Like apparently at one point they were some people at Playground didn't think Fable needed to have humor in it. Apparently that was a thing, but they seemed to figure that out. And it looks like any issues they had during development on getting Fable, like the feel and the vibe of it right, they got it all figured out. Because they really emphasize like, the silly, funny parts of it. You can marry and divorce everybody. You can just own the town. The stuff you used to do in the old Fable game.
When the first game has a designated fart button, I'm pretty sure humor is a part of it.
Yeah. So but it looks like they got it down pat. And honestly, there might be bits of it that, they pay tribute to the original games. Like, I feel like we've gotten to a point with technology now where they could fulfill that like Peter Molyneux thing where it's like you plant an acorn and you come back later, you have a full tree. With technology today, you could probably do that now in a Fable game. And if they throw that in there as a little like nod to that, that would be really cool.
And knowing them, they might actually be able to live up to the hype.
Oh yeah. So it looks really cool. I'm very excited to play it. Some people said the combat didn't look too great. It looked just kind of whatever. Which I mean is fair, but combat was never really an emphasis on the Fable games. At least from what I've played, it was never really the highlight.
No, and it was confident. That was probably the most I'd describe it.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be just fine. That's the one part of the game I would be most worried about is Playground getting the combat right. But I think that's what Eidos Montreal has been working on because they're a support studio for this game. So they were probably brought in to help out with the action and that kind of side of it. So we'll know when we get closer to it. So I look forward to it, and it might be a game you sink like 100+ hours into. It looks like there's going to be a lot to do.
I mean, I do want to finish 2 at some point this year because that's been like on the
I need to
list.
start 2 properly this year as well.
I got same because I've started it so many times and I never finish it because
but now we have a reason to. So there you go. And that is the news. That's really all I had. I did see it might have been like a Remedy leak thing that Control Resonant might be in Q2 of this year. Which if so, it's like in like summer, fall, like early fall, midsummer. I'm like, that's crazy. And then that's going to piss me off because it's like, well, then I need to do my Control replay sooner than I expect. So who knows? But that's all I got.
Nice. The only other thing is we got Nintendo music.
Yeah, what did we get this week?
We got something quirky.
Can't even tell. Oh, that's a nice one. WarioWare on GBA. I like this. I love the WarioWare games. The early ones, like the 2 GBA ones. I do have Twisted. In fact, I won't pull it out, but I have the custom game case they made for it. Because originally some of the bigger Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games couldn't fit in the slimmer DS cases. So they made a thick one specifically for the Game Boy camera, the Rumble Carts, and WarioWare Twisted. So I bought one for it. It's yellow too. The whole thing's yellow, which is cool.
Nice.
And yeah, and Twisted, it's the one with the gyroscope kind of a thing, and it surprisingly works really well. But the original WarioWare is a fucking fantastic game.
Yeah, I think all of them up to like I think Touched was like the last one that I think was really good.
Touched on DS was good. I liked the one on Wii.
Yeah, the Wii one was pretty good.
I forget the subtitle for it.
That's honestly a perfect game for Wii.
Yeah. I didn't like the GameCube one because it was just the GBA game blown up on a big screen.
Yeah,
they didn't really do anything beyond that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a cool game, and those have pretty neat soundtracks. So
they're very, very Wario. I think it's the best way.
Very Wario, yes, and I love that for them. It's just a shame the new ones don't hit the same. Yeah,
Game and Wario was not a.
Well, even the Switch ones, like Get It Together and everything, they're fine. They're not bad, but they don't really feel. But they don't feel Wario. Like they're so WarioWare. They're so different. You know, they could have just been called their own thing and start like a new series of Wario games or something. I don't know, but they're fine. They're not terrible or anything.
But anyways, moving on, we should probably get to our game.
Speaking of not terrible, we're going to talk about the original Army Man game, released on April 30th, 1998 for the Windows personal computer, and then later ported to the Game Boy Color on February 25th of 2000.
Yep. And I'll talk about that version towards the end because I did play both.
Yeah, I did not touch the Game Boy Color version. I only played the PC version.
I'll save my thoughts for when we get to the end, but
okay.
You didn't miss much.
So what's interesting about this game is that it was originally in development for the Panasonic M2, which we haven't done our episode on the M2 yet, but that was meant to be the follow-up to the 3DO, basically the next console. And that's an interesting conversation in and of itself, especially with the games that were planned for it. But this was one of them. So the Army Men series that kind of that 3DO became known for after being hardware did kind of cross over with the hardware. You know, and I imagine this game would have been one of like the marquee showcases for that console had it come out.
Potentially. It's actually kind of interesting. I was looking into development history for this game, and I came across this interesting interview from Next Generation with one of the main devs for this game. Because one thing about the original Army Men that's very apparent is, despite them being like the Green Army Men guys, this game is doesn't play into the whole gimmick very much at all.
No, and that's kind of the thing you see with a lot of the sort of non-Sarge Army Men games is that they don't play into the like, oh, these are just like green plastic guys doing silly shit.
That interview I saw actually addressed that. apparently this game originally was started development as just like a generic like war game, probably kind of like Return Fire in a way.
A little bit. I think last week I said some cannon fodder, and there's a little bit of that here, but it's different.
So apparently their reasoning for why it ended up the army men they went with the plastic toys is because apparently half of 3DO's main market was Europe, particularly Germany. And at the time, Germany is very strict on, I mean, they still are to a degree, but at the time they were very strict on like war, like in media.
Yeah. Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, you could figure that one out. So the reasoning was they looked kind of into like a lot of games like Command and Conquer, for example, had like a specific German version that toned down the violence. They didn't, because it's 3DO and they had not a lot of budget, they didn't want to make two versions. So instead they decided, well, if we're going to tone this down, let's just make them toys. Because, you know, like when everyone thinks of playing a video game, you're just thinking of like, you know, playing with the little plastic toys.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the gimmick spawned from. It was all for basically to make the game like appeal to all audiences across the world in a way.
In a way that makes sense, you know, because it's less like freaky. Like you don't have to worry about blood and guts and gore, and like the Army Men toys were something that I think a lot of kids say our age and especially older were a toy that they were familiar with. You know, I don't think that's a thing kids play with these days.
No, but you still see them in the stores, like in the, the
yep,
little aisle.
in those little bags for like $1 or $2 or something like that. Yeah. Back when I was a kid, I had a little tub just full of them.
Oh yeah.
And every once in a while, I'd bring them out, and it wasn't just the two armies. In fact, I had green and gray.
Yeah, because tan wasn't like really a thing at the time. It was like green and gray.
Yeah, and then I had some vehicles, and I had like some barbed wire, some foliage, and things like that. And you'd set it up and mess around with it. It's like, oh, this is kind of neat, you know. So I could see, so I could see why this would have some appeal, and also coming out during the middle of like the Toy Story kind of craze, because when Toy Story came out in '95, I think that that sparked a bit of a revival in the toy industry in a way. Oh, yeah. And the Army Men are remembered in that first movie.
Yep.
Especially for the scene where they scope out the presents. Yep. So
Arlie Ermy making a cameo.
Yeah, so I think having that sort of tertiary connection as well helped and made sense. It was a thing where when you look at it, it all makes sense.
Oh yeah, because like looking at like a human blow up into a bloody mess, that doesn't appeal to everybody. But like watching a green plastic guy melt, it's toys.
Or they just explode in this game when you shoot them.
Sarge is dead.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of amazing how straight they play the game.
Yeah.
In terms of the little bit of story and stuff that you have. Yeah, they treat it very seriously. Not like pretentious or anything like that, but they're just, playing it straight like you would any other kind of generic war game of the time.
It's played straight, but it's almost played so straight that it's almost a parody.
Maybe unintentionally.
I think it's mostly the voice deliveries, because unlike
the voice deliveries are so rough.
They're kind of amazing.
Oh yeah. The kind of stilted, iffy, like return to HQ to receive more orders.
What's funny is apparently the voice of Sarge in this game is just one of the developers.
Oh, I believe it.
It's not Jim Cummings like in the later games. So it's very like it's like a guy doing like a generic like war voice, like on to checkpoint or like stuff like that.
Yeah. There's no party time.
But like the best is like whenever Sarge dies, the game literally just goes, Sarge is dead. It's just like, okay.
And that'll happen a couple times because I think the game is, I don't want to say it's crazy hard, but it does have a learning curve to it.
I did see one ad for this game though that did have the humor that the later games would later showcase, where the ad showed like it was kind of like rougher CGI that the later games would have, but it showed all the Army men's like going through a parade, I guess coming home, and then it cuts to some ladies off to the side, and one of the Army men goes, "Damn, I hope we can take those bazookas." And I'm just like, yeah. That was the 90s.
I don't know if bazooka is really a good word for that.
They sure thought it was. I saw that. I just went. I was like, "That's so
Uh,
cringy."
I guess like foxhole was too obvious.
Well, the women in the ad were very well endowed. That's all I'll say.
No, I believe it.
And I was just like,
Um,
I saw that. I went, ugh.
But yeah, going back to the game having a learning curve, because this game's available on Steam, by the way.
Mhm.
You can go get it. I think it's like $5 or something like that. And when you boot it up, you realize that like it runs no problem, but it's very old.
Yeah.
Like it literally feels like you booting up an old like Windows 98 or 95 game on your PC. And the standard controls are really stupid.
Yeah, they definitely were.
Yeah, where you use the number pad to move. Like you use 8 to go up, 2 to go down, 4 left, 6 right. And you look at it and I see we're not PC gamers here, me and Bill. Like we play games on PC, but we're particularly console people. That's what we grew up on, so that's what makes sense to us. Where there might be, PC people listening to this who played Army Men in that original control scheme and thinks it's fine, right? That's possible.
To be fair, though, back then, like no PC games had standardized controls. It was all just making shit up.
No, and a lot of those old control schemes aren't really accommodated for like modern keyboards. Because say if a game uses the arrow keys, it's like, well, my laptop, the up and down arrows are like this fucking big.
Yeah.
And then the left and rights are that big too, right next to it. And it's like using that for movement feels so bad. And nowadays everybody just uses WASD.
Good old Wasset.
Which thankfully for this game, you can make a custom configuration. You can completely redo how the game controls to suit your needs, which is very, very nice. And I recommend doing that. I tried plugging in a controller and playing this game with Steam input. It didn't. It worked, but it didn't feel great. And I didn't want to spend like 30 minutes or something setting it up to where it would be tolerable. Even though this game was originally developed for a console, it feels like a PC game at the end of the day. So yeah, just go ahead and set it up like that and you should be good to go. Also, I recommend don't touch the mouse when you play the game, because you can use the mouse to aim, but I feel like they reversed it. Like if you move the mouse to the left, he goes right, and it's not intuitive at all.
So Sarge has tank controls, which on a keyboard, and it's isometric, which just feels weird. Like that's an odd choice.
It is an odd choice because you see like real-time tactics and you're like, oh, is this going to be like I command him to move around, say like an RTS type deal, or have more direct control of him, or like a cannon fodder type situation. But like, yeah, they give you direct tank controls, as you said, like an isometric, like bird's eye perspective. And it's a learning curve. After a while, I did kind of adjust to it.
Yeah, you get used to it after a while. Like if you played enough like Resident Evil and like stuff like that, you get used to it very quickly. But it is a odd thing at first, and especially if you're trying to be fun with the mouse, because the gun can be controlled independently in the PC version.
Yes,
and it can, but don't. Just don't.
No. What worked for me was just using WSD to move, and then I just had the space bar, and I used that to shoot. So I had my thumb for shooting, and then I could have my fingers for like commanding people or selecting other weapons or whatever, and that seemed to work the best for me. And then I had the most success with that.
So I'll pivot quickly into the GBC version of this game. Believe it or not, so fun fact, developed by our friends at Digital Eclipse, one of their old games.
We just talked about them. Hi, guys.
Yep. This is actually a almost like perfect port of the PC version, just with GBA graphics. It's missing content. Like it only has the Desert and Alpine campaigns. It does not have the Bayou campaign.
Bayou.
Yeah. You're not missing much there. It's. I mean, I guess the campaign was fun enough, but it essentially though, control wise, it locks because there's no key mouse. It basically just locks the reticle in front of you at all times, but it's still tanky. So you kind of just use the D-pad and move around, and then shoot with A, and I think B is your roll. But it's funny because it actually has all the voice lines still, just like compressed for GB Game Boy Color.
How bad do they sound?
They sound amazing. Like you can hear like the beeping in the background from like the sound engine, but like Sergeant's Dead is still there and it sounds glorious.
Oh man.
It's a very faithful port though. I was surprised how spot on it was, in all honesty.
Is it worth playing?
Believe it or not, this one has higher reviews, and I found it to be easier to pick up and play.
That could just be it's more, simple and more made for a portable console. So that might be why. Because playing it on PC with the weird PC controls, I do remember thinking, I'm like, man, if I spent the time and properly oriented this for a controller, it'd probably be fine. Like it probably wouldn't be bad by any means. But also I don't think this game is bad.
No, it's not. It's a little jank because it's clearly the first it's the first game.
Yeah, it's a little jank, but also I don't think it's as jank as a lot of the later games, because I think probably this game had a fair amount of time in the oven, because they said they showed off this game at E3 97, which was in I think the summer of 97 or something like that. And then this game didn't come out until April of 98. So it did get roughly a year plus of development, whereas in that time later on, they would make 13 Army Men games.
Yeah, and so you're good.
Yeah, so playing this game, I do sense the actual polish, because it feels like it does have a little bit of polish on it. Because despite not having the greatest control scheme set up, once you get it set up and once you adjust to the jank, which didn't take as long as I thought it would, the game ended up feeling not too bad. And I was kind of getting into it at a certain point as well. I was all right, this ain't too bad. I can dig this.
A comparison I'd make is this game is janky in the same way that say Crash Bandicoot 1 is janky. It's a good game. Yeah,
that's a good.
There's some crust there that you gotta kind of get past.
Yeah. The crust is part of the experience, I think. So and it surprisingly works. It's just a shame that the environments are incredibly bland.
Yeah.
The story is as basic as it gets. And it just in some ways it feels just like a really good proof of concept more than an actual game. I wish that map was so much. The map system, I hate it, because in game it's super fucking tiny, right? They tell you to go to which quadrant to do the thing, which I like, but then it's you can barely fucking see it. And then if you push one of the buttons on your keyboard, you can pull up a full map, and it kind of gives you a rough guide of where to go, which at the desert campaign, when you get the tank, it's actually very helpful to figure out where you need to go. But I just wish you could make that little map in the corner bigger, because even though the game is released for Steam and everything, it is still strict 4:3. You can't adjust, as far as I could tell, you couldn't adjust the resolution or anything, make it widescreen or increase the resolution so things looked a little cleaner. It is as strict, probably 240, 360p as it gets,
Yeah. It's the thing is too, you can tell very much playing this that you can see its roots as it was originally supposed to be just a generic war game.
Yeah, for sure.
Ironically, adding the Army Men is probably what saved this game, because if they had never done that, this probably would have been just some forgotten relic.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would have given two shits about this game, really.
Another thing I noticed too is so the game is entirely pre-rendered, pre-rendered graphics, which is fine. It's a look that I enjoy personally, because I grew up with that look.
Yeah, and I think for such a simple art style or a simple sort of presentation, I think it works just fine actually.
It does show its age though a little bit, because I was thinking about 98 and other games that used mostly pre-rendered stuff, Fallout 1 was right there, and that's a much.
Fallout 1 was 97, wasn't it?
It was right before it. but it like
Yeah.
it was right before
That
it
game
looks
looks better.
it looks a lot better. And then Command
Yeah.
and Conquer was pretty much around then.
Oh yeah.
Hell, 98, like Final Fantasy 7 was out. And I mean, the models aside, the pre-rendered backgrounds still look pretty nice.
Oh yeah, yeah. This was a like 97 was sort of the like the bridging of the gap between the end of the pre-rendered going into like, you know, game engines just rendering the stuff in engine pretty much.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was that weird kind of bridge gap. So you still have some of the pre-rendered, you'll get like mixtures of it. I mean, I think the same year is also a game like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
You know, which honestly I don't think that game is aged super well graphically, but
No, but it's
but the presentation for it is very strong still. You know, just like the way Kojima shows that, you know, almost like a cinematography type way. Like that still looks really good.
I think, yeah, because MGS is an interesting one where like graphically it's very of the time, but like the amount of presentation in that game makes up for it.
Yeah, yeah. And this game just doesn't have any presentation.
No, this game
It's a lot of the issue I have with PC games of this era, and that is they don't have a lot of like fluff, that kind of stuff. It's very almost kind of bare bones where you play the game and then that's it. You know, like at least on consoles we would get like cutscenes or things to kind of fluff it up and make it a little bit more exciting, but like PC was more just kind of focused on just the act of playing the game itself, and they didn't really care about the rest of it. But console was kind of more the entire experience as a whole, you know?
You know what was really funny playing this game? So I never played this as a kid, but I played a lot of 3D, and 3D is technically a remake of this game. I noticed a lot of things. I was like, oh, okay. So this is kind of what they were going for here.
I could see that with 3D being sort of a remake of this, because that also has a very plain looking vibe to it, but you know, of course, putting it in 3D and you know, trying to change the game engine, though I feel like it made that game a lot worse.
No, I still to this day will say the best part of 3D is the multiplayer, and that's kind of like all it should be.
Like really, this version, the older version of it, honestly aged a lot better. But that could be because it's a different type of game, it's a different viewpoint, so it gives it more of a unique edge to it.
Yeah,
because you don't see a huge amount of top-down games anymore.
No, it is interesting too, because it's going to be a while before we get to them, just because they're so far out. But they would actually bring this style back with the latter two GBA games.
That is true.
And I'm actually really, because I've never fully played those, I've only messed around with them. I'm really curious to see, now that I've played a good amount of this one, and after we play like 2 and Toys in Space, how much they refine that with those 2 GBA games.
That would be nice, but also that was probably at the time where they were cranking these out like they were nothing. So
true.
That's something I'm worried about, where they're just not going to do anything and be like, it worked, just do it again.
True.
It's just a fear I have. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, because Operation Green I've heard good things about, but Turf Wars is like the most forgettable Army Men game, so we'll have to wait and see when we get to that one.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Other than that, though, the game is fairly basic. Otherwise,
yeah,
like,
it does have those like black and white World War II things, which is like sure, I guess, but
yeah, we haven't got to fun, quirky Army Men yet. Here.
Yeah. Like it's not like say Call of Duty when they got like the military channel footage for those games.
Yeah.
And it's not like, as you said, later Army Men where they kind of are making fun of it. It just felt like they threw that in there because they're like, we need to spruce this up a little bit. They're like, why not? Whatever, right?
Yeah, because a lot of the humor in this game is unintentional because of the voice acting.
Yeah.
Like, Sarge is Dead is just funny because of how it's delivered. And the fact that there's a voice clip for whenever you die.
Yeah, it has those silly bits, but overall, I kind of just glossed over that stuff because I did find the act of playing the game surprisingly playable and more enjoyable than I thought it would be.
It wasn't frustrating ever. It was kind of just like,
the only frustrating I had was just getting used to the controls. But once I did, it was like, okay, this ain't too bad.
Yeah, because it was very much a like, I could just sit down and when I died, I'd be like, all right, I'm good for now. And I'd put it down and I'd come back to it later.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you don't have to put a huge amount of time into it. So
No. I've heard, so I have not ever touched 2 or Toys in Space. I've heard mixed things on Toys in Space, but I've heard 2 in particular refines this formula a lot, and I've heard from a lot of people
Yeah.
2 might be tied for one of the best games in the series. So I am looking forward to when we eventually get to 2.
I mean, if 2 is a better one, then I'll be happy with that.
And 2 also has a Game Boy Color port. So
Of course it does.
I'm curious to see how that handles.
It's almost like every Army Man game just has a Game Boy version.
A lot of them do, like Air Attack does. Sarge's Heroes 2 does. Portal Runner for some fucking reason does.
Yeah,
I can't
a lot of them have portable ports, which is very interesting, you know?
Yeah, and the portable ports are either like the most forgettable nonsense, or it's like you get like the Portal Runner one where it's like, why is it Castlevania?
Yeah. Or I also like how some portable Army Man games are just their own thing.
Yeah, like the Sarge's Heroes one, which is so.
Yeah, or just Army Man Advance. Like it just
That
got
one
its own
too, yeah.
game. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, here we are now.
Yeah. That being said, looking at some of the reviews for the time, it's very interesting looking at some of these because it's very all over the spectrum.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Like, it's really funny. Like, you look at IGN. IGN gave the original a 4 out of 10, and then the Game Boy Advance a 8 out of 10. I mean, Game Boy Color at 8 out of 10. But then you look at GameSpot, who gave the original a 7 out of 10, and then apparently the Game Boy Color version was just a little worse because they gave it a 6.9 out of 10. Like, okay.
That is
They-
very funny.
They really like the Bayou.
I get the Bayou.
Bayou. Yep.
Yeah. Well, like the IGN review starts off with, "This is not a fun game." It's a great concept, though. Take the little green plastic army men we played with when we were kids and use them as characters in a video game. 3DO swears up and down they came up with this idea before the movie Toy Story came out. To make sure you notice how great the concept is, Army Men sells with little plastic army men in the box, which may be enough of an attention grabber to account for the game's ability to break PC Data's top 10 charts for a month or two. At any rate, Army Men is an important reminder that cool concept art does not make a game.
That is a very IGN review.
Yeah, they were like, people will complain these days about how like nice they are to everybody, but back in the day, they were kind of brutal.
They were brutal and they hated Sonic the fucking Hedgehog.
That they did. But let's see, what does GameSpot have to say about it? I'll just go to the end. While the Plastic Soldier theme might have been better served if it had played up the Toy Story angle a bit more, the end result is fun nonetheless. Army Men successfully melds the old with the new, taking an ageless pastime and literally as well as figuratively giving it new high-tech legs.
It is very interesting. A lot of them bring up the whole, like, they really didn't go hard enough with the concept in this game.
Yeah, and they all like reference like, oh, Toy Story, you know.
Well, yeah, it's like anything with toys around this point, like Clockwork Knight on Saturn. Everyone's like, it's a Toy Story ripoff.
Yeah, or Small Soldiers.
Yeah, that's
Which got a game as well, which I've never played, and I really want to one of these days.
I have not seen that movie in years. Like,
I
should rewatch
I mean,
it.
we've talked about it in Super Pod, like watching it again, or what, like doing a watch party of it. And we 1000% should. I would love to sit down and watch it again.
Yeah, and if it doesn't happen there, I'm sure we can do it in Danny's server.
Yeah. At some point, just make Tony put it on for us.
Yeah.
He might have it in his archive somewhere.
Oh boy. Yeah, other than that though, I guess must play okay, stay away. I'm not gonna say must play yet, but this is definitely a very solid okay.
Yeah, it's not a must play. Because I suspect that the later games of this style will be better. So we'll leave it for that. And yeah, I think okay is the perfect thing for it. It's slightly better than okay. But not enough to give it something beyond an okay. You know what I mean? Like it's an okay. Plus is too much. I don't know. Okay, check mark. I don't know. Like a half star. Okay with a half star.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting because like I kind of view this game the same way I view like the Sarge's Heroes games, where I'm kind of like, these aren't that bad. Sarge's Heroes has a bit more crust to it just because of the 12 games a year. But it was interesting going back to those games and realizing how much I didn't hate them, and then like playing this game and realizing, hey, this really isn't that bad.
Yeah, I will say in my little Army Men ranking, Army Men currently the original sits at number 4 of 8. So it's right in the middle. Like, I think it's better than 3D, Green Rogue, Sarge's War, and Army Men Advance. But I did put both Sarge's Hero games and RTS above it. Because I do think the Sarge's Heroes games stand out a bit more. You know,
they're very charming, even if they are kind of jank.
Yeah, more charming, and they stand out a little bit more. And then RTS is still like genuinely the best game we've played. And
Yes.
Playing this game now, I think RTS did take some cues from this game a little bit. Or I think they were trying to kind of evoke that early style of these games, but like do a more proper strategy game with it.
Yes, I definitely see that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to redo my ranking once we finish playing them all, because I'm thinking back at it now and I'm like, my ranking is going to be very different now that I've replayed a lot of these.
Yeah. I'm just trusting myself as we go. And and when we eventually do our proper ranking, when I see everything, you know, I'll see if something changes my mind.
I don't even remember
Hopefully I won't have recency bias.
I don't even remember if I put Soldiers of Misfortune on my original ranking. I might have forgot about it, to be honest.
I think everybody forgot about it, so don't feel bad about it.
I know where that one's going, regardless. Nice. But is next week, are we doing Star Wars?
We should be. So next week, the planned game is Star Wars Rebel Assault. We say that because we may be having a guest for it.
Yeah.
So I'd say 80% Rebel Assault or 20% Dino Park Tycoon.
Okay.
So if we don't get to Rebel Assault next week, we'll do Dino Park Tycoon, and then we'll save Rebel Assault for hopefully the week after. So I got to get in touch with our guests to be sure we are still on track.
Okay. Sounds good. And I guess with that, once again, guys, thank you for joining us on the 3DO Experience. You can find 3DO on all the platforms and check us out on the SuperPod Network with all of our awesome friends over there. A new Thrak Ops came out recently.
Yes, Thrak Ops 10, talking about Modern Warfare 3 with boss man Aaron. So be sure to go and listen to that. I am in the process of still playing Black Ops 2 for the next episode. In fact, the next handful of episodes are going to be solo, so hopefully I can get them out a little bit quicker. But, you know, with job and life and everything, you know, I can't whip them out as quick. But I'm working on it. I'm working on Black Ops 2.
And
I will say I am enjoying Black Ops 2, like very much so.
I'm looking forward to eventually getting to those at some point. I will say, though, tentatively, hopefully we will also have a new 3D out in the future. It's just getting down that scheduling day. But be on the lookout.
Yeah, waiting on you, dog.
I mean, I finished it.
I've been waiting on you forever.
I know. Last year was last year.
I know. But
yeah. So hopefully,
you, me, and Tony need to talk about that.
Yeah, because we gotta be the 1%. I'll leave it at that. It might be the rating of the game.
I think it's a little higher than that, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I've played worse. But anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us. We will see you all later.
Bye-bye.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system, what are you playing with?